Hey everybody, Bungzy here with another ultralight review on ultralight backpacking. I have a gear list for you today, albeit pretty far from my typical setup. I recently returned from Yellowstone, where I joined my brother-in-law Dan for a 5-day backpacking and fishing trip deep in the backcountry. Man, that park is magical. It's like the Disney World of outdoors in that there's a new ride around every corner. The topography changes so much. I'll have footage of the trip for you in an upcoming video, so we'll leave it at that for now. Let's get back to the gear. Albeit deep in the backcountry, as I mentioned, we were covering limited miles, with the focus instead being on fishing and chilling in camp. So I decided to suck it up and carry gear that would enrich the experience. So think of this gear list as an ultralight base with a big old pile of luxury items. I'm going to keep my color commentary to a minimum today because I'm going to follow up this video in the coming weeks with a video on my gear wins and fails from this trip. So look out for that one as well. Let's jump in. I'm going to start with my base items and hit up my luxury items after that. Let's start with my pack. Since I was carrying a relatively heavy load, I went with my Hyperlight Mountain Gear 2400 Windrider. That's a mouthful. I've trimmed 1.5 ounces of unnecessary straps and buckles off of it, so mine weighs 32.2 ounces in a size medium. Added to that was a Nylofume pack liner, which only weighs, I think it's 0.91 ounces, something like that. Moving on, my tent is a Z-Pax Plexamid. You'll see it right over there. It weighs 14.49 ounces, and I do not use the stuffed sack. No, my struts have not broken yet. I carry a mix of tent stakes, 4 Z-Pax carbon stakes, they haven't broken yet, 4 shepherd hooks of unknown origin, and 2 of these titanium V stakes. Sorry, no idea where I got those either. My stakes go in a small bag along with my trowel. Altogether, this pouch weighs 3.24 ounces, again, including the trowel. I somewhat recently had knee surgery, so I brought my Z-Pax carbon staff instead of my trekking poles. While I prefer trekking poles, a long staff will give you much more leverage should you need it. I'll do a video down the road a bit on the pros and cons of staffs versus trekking poles in case you're interested. The staff, by the way, weighs 7.5 ounces. Let's talk bedtime. I brought a standard size Thermarest Uberlight. I don't have it with me at the moment, so this Neo Air is just a placeholder. And my standard size Katabatic Gear Elite 30 degree Palisade quilt, which is underneath it. I always bring the tie-down lines, which you'll see right there for the quilt, but honestly, I don't remember the last time I used them. They're great, though, if it gets super, super cold. And, of course, my Sea to Summit pillow, which you'll see right there. I have standalone reviews on my quilt and my pillow if you want a deeper dive. Take a look. The pad, quilt, pillow, and tie-downs weighs 28.7 ounces combined. Not bad. The forecast called for a low in the upper 30s one night, but was otherwise in the low 40s for a low and quite warm during the day with highs in the low 80s, so being cold was not going to be a problem. For my water kit, I had one 1-liter Smart Water bottle, there it is, as well as a 900 milliliter Evernew bladder. There was water everywhere, but I like to carry the small bladder, especially in warm temps, so that I can have a dedicated electrolyte bottle, which I definitely needed on this summer outing. A quick side note, using a soft-sided bladder instead of another bottle also makes it easy to roll up and store your sweet-smelling bottle with your food at night, especially in bear country. Now, as for the filter, I packed a Sawyer microfilter with a Sawyer coupler instead of the squirt nozzle, which makes it easier to filter and backwash. It's a longer story, but I don't have the micro with me, so I just have my standard sized Sawyer squeeze in there as a placeholder as well. Check out my water series videos if you haven't already on the ins and outs of my filtering system. As for my cook kit, I wasn't able to find Esbits in the park, so I brought my 0.6 liter Evernew pot, my Soto Windmaster, and my Toke's long handle spoon, and of course my Gossamer Gear food cozy. I also stuff in there a small towel, which doesn't touch anything except my pot and spoon. Call me a germaphobe. Altogether, this food kit weighs 7.61 ounces, not including the fuel. Food storage. Yellowstone requires that you hang your food or use their bear boxes when they're available. So I used my Ursack bear bag at 7.6 ounces, a liner bag at 1.4 ounces, and a hang kit at 1.34 ounces. The Ursack was overkill, but if you've watched my short on food storage, you'll know why. As for worn clothing, I wore some light summer weight Under Armour joggers. Shocker, I know, a non-outdoor gear brand. Some Nike boxer briefs, and a long sleeve hooded Montbell t-shirt. On my feet, I had some ankle-length Bungzy socks and a pair of Ultra Temps. Also in there is my hat down below, sunglasses, my Timex watch, what else? And my neck knife and keychain light setup, which you'll see right there. Whoops, right there. We'll talk about that little piece of kit down the road. I'm in love with it. Altogether, my worn weight, everything you see here, was under 2 pounds, 13 ounces. As for pack clothes, I had a pair of Enlighten Equipment wind pants right over there, a pair of Patagonia thermal weight long underwear bottoms. You'll see them there in blue. And a hooded Ghost Whisperer jacket down below, right over here. Let's see here, what else? I also had a Montbell Versalite rain jacket right next to it, an Enlighten Equipment rain skirt, a Z-Packs fleece beanie, and a half-size buff. Oh, and of course my waterproof sealskin socks, which I never leave home without. I also brought along a Montbell wind shirt, the green one, in case it got chilly standing in the water all day, or for bug protection. Altogether, my pack clothes weighed 30.5 ounces. As for odds and ends, I had my iPhone, which I'm filming with, my GoPro with a GoPro Shorty mount, which I love, my InReach Mini, and my Nightcore NU20 headlamp, which I have a review for if you haven't seen it. And then there's my Diddy bag here in orange, which has been with me forever. I keep all my little bits in there. I have a repair kit, meds and first aid, sunscreen, bug spray, etc. There's also a cable, some cable adapters, and a power bank. And that's about it. Now for the fun stuff. The luxury items I brought on this trip, which otherwise aren't part of my kit. First off, I brought a speaker, which you'll see that little blue guy right there. It's a Sony SRS XB12 portable Bluetooth speaker, mouthful, which weighs 8.53 ounces. We used it a ton. We were in the middle of nowhere and we didn't see a soul, so no one to bother. As for batteries, I usually carry a 10,000 milliamp battery, which is that guy right there. But opted for a beefier 20,000 milliamp battery bank for this trip, given all the electronics and downtime in camp. I also brought a chair, which you'll see right up top there, given how much time we were going to be spending just chilling in camp. This is a Helinox Chair Zero, and it weighs 1 pound even. I also had an extra shirt, given I was covered in fish stink and fish blood, and in bear country, as well as a pair of Zero Z trail sandals for fishing and camp. You'll see those, down below. I don't know if you can see them. There they are. I might throw together a review for you guys on those sandals if you're interested. Let me know in the comments. I also had booze. You're going to need to use your imagination for this. I don't have it in front of me, but we had a liter of scotch in a smart water bottle and a pack of wine in cans. Don't judge. Then there was the extra cooking gear for the fish fry. There's a frying pan, oil, and cornmeal, all of which we hiked in with. And of course, there was the fishing gear itself. Most of you aren't here for fishing talk, so I'll just say there was probably close to 1.5 pounds of fishing gear all in. Talking 2 rods, a fishing net, a pair of walkie-talkies, and a bunch of flies and other fishing gear. I also brought another 2-liter Evernew bladder, which you'll see down below. Unnecessary given the abundance of water, but as I mentioned, we were going to be spending a lot of time in camp, and I didn't want to wear my lazy ass out walking back and forth to the creek. And that would be it. I never bothered with an all in weigh. I wish I had. Best guess, given the pile of luxury items and the 5 days of food, I suspect I was probably topping out over 30 pounds, probably 35. So, what worked? What didn't? After my upcoming trip report, I'll give you my gear wins and gear fails for this trip. There are there are base items as well as luxury items on both lists. Well, that's all the time I need, and I hope I gave you something to think about. As always, please help me grow the show. Hit like and click the Bungzy logo floating on your screen and subscribe if you haven't already. It helps me a ton. Thanks, and I'll catch you on my next ultralight review on ultralight backpacking.